Hi guys, welcome back to Saving Salvage and welcome to the Audi RS4 B7 strip down of my slightly poorly supercharger. But before we get into it, we do need to get the B8 out. I have kind of started clearing a spacelet. I've got the Porsche out. I've had a bit of a sweep up, nothing major yet. We just want to get the RS4 out. But I did try and drive it. The gearbox is a bit iffy because of the lack of fluid. I don't want to ruin it, so what we're going to do very quickly is do a gearbox oil change. I won't waste your time too much, so smash out a gearbox oil change and get this off the ramp and get the B7 in. So as always guys, if you do enjoy these videos and you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe and also head over to my Instagram, which is saving_salvage. Right, let's get her up in the air, drain her oil, and let's go. So I just emptied the old gearbox oil into a container so I could see roughly how much was missing. So that is a 10 litre container. As you can see, it's probably quarter full. So about 2.5 to 3 litres are probably in there, which is well under the 6-ish that should be in there. So the good news is though, there is no water or anything in there. I just wanted to make sure there shouldn't have been anyway. But the good news is there is no water in the gearbox. So hopefully that means our gearbox is fine along with the rest of the car. And I've also remove the filter as well. The filter actually looks pretty new, so I'm fairly confident, knowing the car that has only done 42,000 miles. It probably only had a DSG oil and filter change a couple of thousand miles ago because it is due at 40,000 miles. But there we go. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're putting 6 fresh litres of oil in the gearbox along with a new filter, so she should be sweet after that. Well guys, now the RS4 should be able to drive out the workshop with its new oil and filter for the gearbox. I just want to do one thing, and that is just reset my service light, because now essentially I've done an oil change service and a gearbox oil and filter change as well. I do also still have the spark plugs, air filters, etc. to do, but we will do those at a later date. Now I've been working with Carly Connected for today's video guys. So Carly Connected is a universal adapter that works with all cars with an OBD2 port. So I connected the car, and the good thing is it's Bluetooth as well, so there's no wires involved with this guys. You literally just plug it into your OBD port and then connect to your phone. And it has loads of different options: health diagnostics, live data, used car mileage check, which is very good, and a coding option as well. So if we just go into health diagnostics, and you can see, look, mine is very bad on the RS4, as 116 issues. Well, I knew it'd be anyway, because we haven't finished putting it back together. So what I've done now is just go into coding, and as you can see, look, there's 4 different modules that will let me code, and there's a lot of options within those modules as well. So there we go, look, we've just gone into this module, and it's given me loads of different options that I can code, look. Absolutely loads of things, and the beauty of it is just literally an off or an on key. Oh, that's pretty cool. So key 1, mirror folding when you lock it, so I want that. I think that's about all I want on this one, so we'll just click code now. And there we go, look, coding was successful. Please turn the ignition off and on again, which I've already just done. So there we go, look, as simple as that. Another feature I did was the used car mileage check. Now what this does is it takes data from every single module on the car that records a mileage. I think there's about 5 different modules in this car which store a mileage counter in it. So what it does, it collates data from all those modules and just matches them up to make sure that they all match. And if they don't, it will ping up an error and say, oi, look, this car's been tampered with. Another good thing it does is show you previous crash data as well. So it actually pops up and tells you how many airbag modules have gone off and when. And luckily on my car, as you can see, look, I've had no such incidents. So we're good to go there. At least we know it was just in a flood and not in a crash flood. So click the link in my description, go over to the website, use my discount code, which is Saving Salvage, for an extra 15% off the adapter. And if you wanted to upgrade the features available, there is a yearly subscription available too. So guys, as you can see, I've got 2 of the adapters here already, and that is because my dad actually bought one a fair few months ago, and obviously Carly kindly sent me one through the post as well, but I do not need it. I can just use my dad's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this away for free. All you've got to do is just write in the comments below, I want it, and what I'll do after a few days, I'll randomly pick a comment at random, I'll pin it to the top, and then that person just needs to email me their details and I'll send it through the post for free. So if you want it, just comment below and you can have it. what I might do, I might get her on the ramp first, just put her up in the air and just have a general quick nosy around just to make sure there's nothing else obvious. Not that it matters now because it's too late, but we'll have a quick little nosy, see if there's anything else untoward, and then we can get started on taking this apart. Now don't get me wrong, I've never stripped a supercharger, so I have no clue in theory what I am doing. So I'm just going to start undoing stuff that I can see and take it a layer at a time and go from there. There is some coolant circulating there. I don't know if that's connected to the main coolant or separate. I have no idea, so I'm gonna have to look into that. But let's get up in the air, have a quick little nosy, and then let's start stripping the old supercharger. So got up in the air, just had a quick look around it myself first, so I know what I'm talking about. Tyres are all pretty good. The fronts are fairly new. Brakes on the front are good as well. The only real downside is that the flexis have been damaged. Obviously sat too low to the ground, so they've caught on things, but they don't seem to be pierced, just seem to be the flexi pipe wiring has been mangled. But other than that, there is some slight evidence of an oil leak from the front here, which we might have to look into because it's kind of gone down the back a little bit down here. But other than that, it's pretty standard 13-year-old car. Is it 13-year-old? Yeah, 13-year-old car. It has still got the standard DRC suspension. However, there are numerous receipts for replacement shocks, so I'm hoping that all four have been done at some point. But the good news is none of them are leaking at the moment, so that's one good thing. Again, rear tyres and brakes are all good. Everything else is pretty standard, so nothing too major coming out from underneath so far. Maybe just a bit of an oil leak we may need to have a look at from the front. So it looks like it's integrated to the standard cooling system. There is a pipe at the bottom of this is the Supercharger's own coolant bottle and own little oil bottle here. The coolant pipe looks like it connects to an original one down there. I can't quite see where it goes to, and then obviously it goes into the supercharger and out here, and again the pipe goes down the bottom, so I can't quite see where it goes to. So what I'm going to do first, which I have already done before, is to remove all these screws along the top and take the first layer off. So that's our first layer off, and I did just undo that last bolt and coolant started coming out the middle here, so I think I am going to just drain the system because I don't really want coolant all over the engine. So it seems, so what we have here, we have our intake, massive intake hose here, and that goes into the supercharger through the bottom there. Then you go through the supercharger, the compressor, which is driven off the belt for the engine, and that forces air up here. And then it goes through the cooler, which are each side, which then directly goes into the inlet manifold and into the engine. That's how it looks like it is working. So that's the top layer done. I scrapped draining the coolant. I'm talking rubbish. There's only one coolant inlet and outlet, and there's nothing coming out of either of them, so I don't know what good draining the coolant system is going to do. So I've just removed the bracket for the fuel sender. So I'm hoping now, actually, just got to remove it from here, I reckon. Right, there's that. So that's the next layer exposed. Unfortunately, you kind of have to accept getting coolant dropping into your inlet valves, and I don't really think there's much you can do about it because you have to remove that cover, what I just mentioned, to get to these bolts, which I've just undone, to get the supercharger off. But there's no real way, you can't obviously drain the coolant from these little gullies here, so you're just going to have to accept what is going to go into your cylinders, which isn't ideal. which means we're going to have to take the spark plugs out to obviously pump it back out again before we try and start it. So not great, but there we go. So anyway, I've undone these main bolts under here as well. Just, I don't know if you can see in there, but look how coked up the valves are. Don't know if it's gonna, might be able to see there, but they are really, really coked up. I mean, look at that one if you can see. It's gonna be quite hard to see, but it's really bad. And I've got to the point where I've undone the remaining bolts and everything is now loose. It's just the only thing really keeping on, I think, is our pulley and belt at the front here. Luckily the tensioner is at the bottom here, so I was able to just detension it and whip the belt off, so that's good. Probably didn't have to take the front bumper off, but I wanted to anyway because of the oil leak I suspected from the oil cooler, which, yeah, probably gonna need a new oil cooler. Very common on these, and it's obviously the first thing I looked for, and it don't look great, does it? So everything else looks okay though, everything else looks nice. So we've now got the belt off at the bottom, so I'll bring the car back down and see if we can just wiggle the supercharger out. So I took the supercharger off last night. I've just put a rag over the inlet tracks for the moment. They are very coked up with carbon buildup. If you can look at that, look. I am going to attempt a carbon clean myself, so I'm just looking into buying an adapter, some walnut blast, and a machine to do it. So hopefully we can do that as well. I've just got all of the tools. And on to the supercharger. So we need to break this down a little bit more because it's still, I don't know if I can actually. Oh yeah, the bolts are this side, I think. So, but straight away, look into the turbine and yeah, it's seized absolutely solid. I still think it's because of lack of oil, so I think bearings got hot and melted. It doesn't look damaged, there's nothing broken up or anything like that, so that's what I'm still going for at the moment. So we just got to strip it down a little bit more and just to see what we can find. So it just looks like there's the wrong Allen key for a start. Oh. There we go. Right. There we go. Righty ho. That has revealed nothing. Bloody hell, there's more layers to this than a bloody wedding cake. Well, there's my shaft that's snapped. I can see that straight away, look. Don't know where that's supposed to go. Let's have a look. Yeah. Don't know if you'll be able to see it. See in here, look. There's a little, about an 8mm bolt it looks like, that you can clearly see is sheared off. The other half of it is here. I might be able to pick it out. No, it's an actual bolt. It's got a thread on it and it's clearly snapped. I'll show you that in a second. think I've just got one more layer there of a 3mm Allen key. Right, I have just got off. I can't get any further than this. I can split this casing apart some more. I have just spoken to Richard at TTS. You can screw a bolt in there and try and, you have to prise this casing off the bearing, but it's not really going to help me out. And I've also, so I've just had a chat with him, and there you go, look, you can see that the sheared bolt here, look. See the sheared bolt there, and I've actually just pulled out the other half of it as well, look, and there it is. So what I actually have to do now is I have to send this off to TTS to be rebuilt. It's not just as simple as a new charger, because there are parts that are specific to the RS4. So this is the main charger. This is a main C38 charger here, but then you have specific parts for each vehicle. So this one is specific to the RS4, so we will need to reuse this part, but there are, obviously we've got the bolt stuck in there, there's a bearing in here as well, and that all needs to be set up properly on the new charger, and that is something I won't be able to do. So what I've got to do is I've got to send the whole lot off to TTS, and what they will do is they'll give me a new charger here, and then they'll rebuild the new charger with this, put a new drive shaft bolt in, and then rebalance the whole supercharger and send it back to me. So that is as far as we're going to get up to with stripping the supercharger. It just now needs to be sent off and a new one back and fully balanced. So I'm going to send off the supercharger off to TTS today. Hopefully he'll get it in the next 1 to 2 days, and then he can rebuild and send it back to me. So we're probably looking at 1 to maybe 2 weeks before we can get the new supercharger back and get this rebuilt. And also, in the meantime, I'm hoping that my walnut blasting kit that I've bought will turn up as well, so we'll be able to do a full decoke of the inlet manifold, so that'll be good as well. So it's probably a good timing. Actually, I did bring this in and start stripping it now, because obviously now we've got to wait for parts, which gives me a chance to get the B8 back in and get the front end back together and take it on some sort of test drive. So as always guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, probably going to be on the B8. Cheers guys.